The letter of Paul to the Galatians. Brothers and sisters, for freedom Christ set us free. So stand firm and do not submit again to the yoke of slavery. For you are called for freedom, brothers and sisters, but do not use this freedom as an opportunity for the flesh. Rather, serve one another through love. For the whole law is fulfilled in one statement, namely, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you go biting and devouring one another, be aware that you are not consumed by one another. I say then, live by the Spirit, and you will certainly not gratify the desire of the flesh. For the flesh has desire against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. These are opposed to each other, so that you may not do what you want. But if you are guided by the Spirit, you are not under the law. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
St. Paul is trying to say to people of Galatia, and he's trying to say to us, every time we read this letter, that by virtue of baptism, we become free people. Because Christ died for us for one reason, to take away our sin. And when that sin was taken away from us, we are reconciled with the Father. And if we are reconciled with the Father, now we are heirs of the kingdom. And so if we are free from this oak of sin, why are we trying to go back to that oak by attracting ourselves to sin? And then he continued to say to us, brothers and sisters, this freedom was not given to us so that we can let this flesh do what it wants, but to master this flesh and to use that freedom as a love that we have received from God. And that love is not just for you, but love is a generator. Because once you love, once you are a person of love, you have to share that love with those around you. And this is what the law is all about, to love your neighbor as thyself. Then St. Paul was very practical when he said, do not go to really be after each other. Because every time you are going to do something, you are going to find somebody who do it to you. And that is not what we are asking you to do. Because if you are going to go that avenue, you are going to destroy yourself. And then he said to us, but I say to you, live by the Spirit, that Spirit of baptism, that Spirit of Christ that we put on at baptism, that Spirit that guides us in our daily life, that Spirit that all of you, including me, has confirmed at our confirmation. That is what confirmation is. I confirm the faith that my parents gave me. And why? Because I want to live in that faith that really is very special to me. Because he said there is a fight within you, and that fight is between do good and do evil. There is evil and good within us, and because of that, we are constantly at battle. But if we live by the Spirit, we don't fall under the law of this nature, but we live by the law of God, which is the law of love. St. Paul really was a practical person. He knows humanity, but also he knows the grace of God, because he himself was filled with it. It's not me who live, but Christ lives in me. And he knows humanity, because he knows that if we play games with the faith, before we know it, we will lose it. Because our faith is not a right. Our faith is a gift. Let's continue the celebration of the Eucharist and ask the Lord to help us especially to become more aware of this fragility of nature, but also of the grace of God that is within us And if we allow that grace, we can be these people who are being led by the Spirit, and the Spirit has one important work to do to make us arrive at our destination.